Welcome back to Psycho Turtle Collectibles in Pico Rivera, California. Round number 4, final round of Swiss here for our Saturday Gym Challenge. I'm Dennis Geisler, with me, Fuecoco. Two players here at 2-1, looking to move to 3-1 and most likely float through to top cut, potentially to try to get some of the CP that's on the line here. We have Tyler Deacy and Angel Torres. Tyler with that Gouging Fire, King Gambit, Ogre Pond, Wellspring, Fluttermane, Ting Lu, and Volcarona. And Angel with the Incineroar, Rillaboom, Raging Bolt, Urshifu, Single Strike, Whimsicott, and Fluttermane. We have a Volcarona against Sun. This Whimsicott does have the manual Sun with the Prankster Sunny Day. Volcarona is somewhat offensive, I think I would say, with the Flame Body and the Citrus Berry, but it also has the Flamethrower, Struggle Bug, Quiver Dance, and Protect. Mostly wanted to launch out those Flamethrowers. We might just not see Volcarona at all, though. Very possible. Seen a bit of Tyler's team. We've also seen a Ting Lu today. I believe this is the exact same set as the Ting Lu earlier. Assault Vest, Stomping Tantrum, Throat Chop, Heavy Slam, and Snarl. It was Terra Fairy instead of Terra Poison, but very similar Ting Lus that we're seeing. Seeing a bit of a re-rise in Ting Lu. All the special damage flying around in response to all of the Intimidate flying around. But away we go. Round number 4, both these players at 2-1, 3-1. I think gets you into top cut 2-2. Might not. Or might not. Beat Urshifu and Rillaboom for Angel, and King Gambit and Gouging Fire for Tyler. Gouging Fire is Heat Crash, Breaking Swipe, Howl, and Burning Bulwark. Got the booster speed, as you see there. King Gambit, Kowtow, Cleave, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, Protect. With the Black Glasses and Defiant. Terra Fairy, so not Terra Dark, not going to boost it all too much. Does have the ability to potentially Howl. See what the choice is here. This Urshifu Single Strike could close combat into that King Gambit and really lay down the hurt turn number 1. Fastest thing barring priority will be that Gouging Fire. It's the potential of Fake Out, but there's also potential of a Burning Bulwark to block that Fake Out and burn Rillaboom in return, which is why the Rillaboom will go for the Terra Fire, can't be burned. Early use of the Terra from Angel, but not a bad one in the slightest. We'll see the Terra on Tyler's side as well. Will be a Terra onto the King Gambit, so the King Gambit won't be hit too hard by the close combat. Shouldn't take too much damage against anything here. Still will take some damage though. Still a slow mon. Breaking Swipe is the choice, and no priority actually used by either player here. Give me the attack drop there. Wicked Blow does okay damage into the Gouging Fire, not great. Rillaboom does go for the Wood Hammer into the King Gambit, not going to finish off. Not going to do over half even. And the Iron Head into the Urshifu, not all too much damage, so just a bit of punching back and forth on turn number 1 here. State overall probably favors Tyler. There's certainly a lot of good options here for turn number 2. It's going to be Urshifu swapping out. Whatever swaps in could get hit pretty hard here. It's Whimsicott. I think Whimsicott is potentially about to get lit up pretty badly here. Grassy Glide's going to come out, hit the King Gambit, not going to do much of anything. Sucker Punch, not going to go through. Whimsicott does have a Focus Sash, so no matter what Gouging Fire does with this Heat Crash, it will not finish off the Whimsicott. And Breaking Swipe can't hit it anyways, so a different move needs to be particularly committed to finishing off that Whimsicott. But it does take a lot of damage on the switch in there. Got us the Moon Blast, as well as Tailwind, Sunny Day, and Fake Tears. Prankster for 3 of those moves. The choice is the Tailwind. The Tailwind plus that Rillaboom Wood Hammer could get close. Taking down that King Gambit, it'll be certainly in the realm of possibilities. Is the Tailwind from Whimsicott going to get that speed priority, even over that booster speed Gouging Fire? It actually won't. Gouging Fire is actually still faster than Rillaboom. It'll drop its attack once again. And the high horsepower into the Gouging Fire, that's not going to do much at all, even though it's super effective. And that Kowtow Cleave finishing off the Whimsicott. Have to devote a move there at some point, and now appears to be the time. All things considered, nice start here for Tyler. Tailwind is up for Angel, which is a nice advantage to have, but Tyler does have a very fast Gouging Fire and priority on the King Gambit. This Flutter Mane is Specs, so there's really not a lot it can do about being Sucker Punched here, potentially. In addition, a Ting-Lu can switch in, lower the damage it outputs, although not necessarily the safest move in the world to go for that on account of Rillaboom Wood Hammers. Rillaboom's not going to stick around though. Going to switch out. Going to send Urshifu, I believe, back in. Yep, indeed it will. Burning Bulwark comes through. Not going to burn anything, but could block some damage there. It will be the Sucker Punch into the Flutter Mane, going to a little over half of its HP. Dazzling Gleam is the choice, so it will block the damage for the Gouging Fire, but we'll still do quite a bit of damage here to the King Gambit. Not going to pick up the knockout, but still some very good damage. Now, another opportunity to flick that Sucker Punch again on the Flutter Mane. Only takes it, no, the Sucker Punch the other direction. Not going to finish it off because of that Terra Fairy resisting it. And the Sucker Punch the other way towards the Flutter Mane will finish it off. And a Heat Crash here. It's going to be a Breaking Swipe instead for the Gouging Fire. Will land. Does not knock out the Urshifu. Doesn't drop its attack. It's actually Clear Amulet. A little bit of an interesting choice. Don't see that a whole lot in Urshifu. I was wondering why I didn't get a drop earlier. It is Clear Amulet. But in any case, not a great spot for Angel to be in here. Does still have the Tailwind up for just a little bit longer. Grassy Terrain's back up as well. Takeout pressure is around. But regardless, this Gouging Fire is in a very difficult spot to dislodge at this point. The Rillaboom is probably going to... Well, the Rillaboom Urshifu won't struggle too much getting rid of it eventually, although the Burning Bulwark is certainly something you have to be... you don't have to be cognizant of it, actually. You break through. Wicked Blow comes through onto the Gouging Fire. Going to nearly knock it out. Could be finished off. No, the Rillaboom is still slower. I forgot about that. It will drop the attack of the Rillaboom once again. High Horsepower finishes it off, but now the King Gambit gets a free turn to launch out an attack. Probably will finish off whoever it decides to go for. Goes for the Iron Head into the Urshifu. That's certainly going to finish it off. And just a lone Rillaboom remains. Fight off a couple of other things, most notably that Ting-Lu with the Stomping Tantrum in the back. Tailwind is also gone now. See the choice decides to be. It is indeed the Ting-Lu. Does have that Stomping Tantrum. Will most likely maybe not finish off the Rillaboom immediately, but should eventually finish off the Rillaboom. Maybe a Throat Chop instead, in fact. Maybe Wood Hammer into the Ting-Lu. Do a big chunk of damage, but that does just as much damage back to the Rillaboom. Not just as much, but obviously a big chunk back, and puts it in range to go down to the Kowtow Cleave. Tyler Deacy, game number 1 of Victor. And round number 4, looking to get to 3-1, looking to make top cut. Nice first game there for Tyler. I like that lead, the Gouging Fire and the King Gambit. Lots of options there. Lots of threat, I think, but also a lot of utility. The King Gambit is always a little bit scary. Both players use their Terastal on turn number 1, which I think is very notable to mention. The Terrifier Rillaboom didn't end up doing that much. It was never actually attacking into the Gouging Fire slot, so it was mostly doing it defensively to dodge the Heat Crash, I suppose. Which isn't worthless, but there were a couple of other things that potentially could have Terastalized and did not get to. Although there weren't a ton of great Terra targets on Angel's team, particularly in what was brought this time. Though I suppose the Terra Fairy Fluttermane was a pretty important exception as something that could have taken more sucker punches if it was able to Terastallize. On the other end, the immediate Terra of the King Gambit certainly worked out. That King Gambit took a lot of hits. It absolutely had no right taking. See if either of these players decides to switch things up a little bit. Game number 3, I believe that Tyler didn't show the final Pokemon in game number 1, which was the Fluttermane. I think I said game number 3. We're in game number 2. Tyler won game number 1. This is game number 2. We're in round 4 of Swiss. This gym challenge is the final round of Swiss. This could be the final game of Swiss for us today. But we will be back here tomorrow for another Premier Challenge on Big Game Sunday, as they call it. Head in here. Game number 2, Whimsicott Fluttermane is the lead from Angel. It's going to be Gouging Fire King Gambit once again from Tyler. Right off the bat, obviously the Photosynthesis goes up. Boost the speed there. Fluttermane. Excuse me, this Fluttermane would get a boost to its special attack if Photosynthesis came up from the sunny day. But it is Choice Spec, so naturally it's just going to be very high in special attack right now. I'll hit both these Pokemon for neutral damage with a Fairy type move. Both of them have a type that resists and a type that is weak to Fairy. It would be very good damage against these Pokemon as it hits any resist pretty hard. Yep, it's gonna leave. King Lu will come in and lower that special attack. The big use of the Ting Lu is to reduce the damage of that Fluttermane. I see the Terastal as well. I believe that is Tyler's Terastal. So it will be the Gouging Fire Terra Fairy, so it'll take basically nothing up against this Fluttermane. Not a whole lot the Fluttermane can do to it at this point. We will see the Terra on the other side for Angel. Again, 2 turn 1 Terras. It will be the Fluttermane Terra Fairy. It's stronger against the Sucker Punch now, but the Sucker Punch isn't on the field. Be a good play out for Angel. See the Tailwind from Whimsicott, getting that free Tailwind up once again. Moonblast from Fluttermane. We'll see what this does. It is targeted into the Gouging Fire. Not going to be enough. Does drop the special attack, but that's not going to mean anything. The Heat Crash into the Fluttermane. Not going to pick up the KO either. How heavy is Fluttermane? Question of the day. In any case, Gouging Fire in a bit of a dangerous spot here. I think the choice is for Tyler to try to get out of this one. There is a Protect available, although this Ting Lu is in a decent amount of danger. I like how Ting Lu looks. Ting Lu is in a decent amount of danger of getting hit with 2 Moonblasts here this turn. Particularly, or either that or a Moonblast. Well, I guess we now know. Well, we don't know for sure. There's the Protect. We'll see if the Sunny Day goes up. No, it is just Whimsicott Moonblast. Little chunk to Ting Lu. Fluttermane Moonblast is also going to go into that Ting Lu. Will it finish it off? No, it won't. Barely not enough damage. Lowers the special attack. Again, doesn't matter. Heavy Slam. That should certainly finish off the Fluttermane, no matter how heavy it is. And that will be the end for that Terra Fluttermane. And the Gouging Fire is going to be the winner of that fight, although it got a bit of help from its good friend Ting Lu. It's made of like layers of dirt. I like it a lot. There's a Rillaboom coming back in. It can fake out the Gouging Fire if it wants, with the only concern being a double Protect. Ting Lu as well is a juicy target to finish off here. Ting Lu unlikely to get through this turn, to be totally honest. Although it shouldn't take a Moonblast, and it will not take a Moonblast. There it goes, Ting Lu. Sliverin drops off, but that only really affected Whimsicott at that moment, not really doing a whole lot of anything. Breaking Swipe doesn't affect Whimsicott, so it'll do full damage to Rillaboom. Drops that attack. And the Wood Hammer the other direction. Ooh, not going to finish off the Gouging Fire. Barely not enough. Just 6 HP remaining there. Does get a tiny bit of restore, but by the skin of its teeth. Gouging Fire gets out of that one. And King Gambit comes back in. No more Flutter Mane for King Gambit to have to deal with. Whimsicott does still have that Focus Sash, so it will be able to have a lot of options there. Be able to keep using its moves. Rillaboom switches out. Urshifu comes in. Seen all of Angel's Pokemon here. The Moonblast onto the Gouging Fire will finish it off. There it goes. 2 Pokemon to 3 here for Tyler and Angel. Kowtow Cleave into the Urshifu. Not much damage at all into that quadruple resist. Tailwind is now down. And the final Pokemon is Ogerpon Wellspring for Tyler. First time bringing that this series, and first time seeing it this series. Tyler likely gonna have to play this one a little slowly. There is a certain danger for Whimsicott using Moonblast into King Gambit. Big Tears is going to be the option to try to reduce Ogerpon's special defense for itself, basically. That move basically can't be used by, like, onto the King Gambit. Like, that option can't go against the King Gambit, because then King Gambit will get that Defiant boost +2 to its attack stat in exchange for a fairly meaningless drop to its special defense. It's a little more meaningful for this Ogerpon. Urshifu's going to switch out. And that does mean Rillaboom comes back in. Do the Whimsicott Moonblast into the Ogerpon. Nice damage. Does drop the special attack again. Again, if that one happened up against the King Gambit, the King Gambit would have gotten the +2 attack Defiant boost, which again is a really nice out for Tyler here. The Iron Head will indeed get the Whimsicott down to Focus Sash, and no more than that. Ogerpon, unlikely, even with all the regeneration this turn, to take another Moonblast, but there is certainly an option here for Tyler. Spiky Shield here. Will the Sucker Punch be red here? No, it's the Fake Out from Rillaboom. King Gambit not going to be able to use Sucker Punch, and the Whimsicott Moonblast not going to connect up into that protected Ogerpon. Protectorpon. Sucker Punch still an option here, although again, Angel can try to mind game it a little bit and use a status move or switch out the Whimsicott. The Tailwind is not up. That could be certainly an option if the Sucker Punch is feared. But then, do you go big and just go for the knockout on the Ogerpon? Many questions, many scholars ask. Will be the Tailwind. And it was going to be the Sucker Punch into the Rillaboom, not going to be enough to knock out, but the Ogerpon not actually fast enough to outspeed the Rillaboom. It'll get knocked out there. Because of the Tailwind, it was not faster. And the Rillaboom will knock itself out to its own recoil. But that should be the game for Angel Torres, as I don't think this King Gambit has the damage to take down the Urshifu. I don't really think there's damage there to get it done. And I think Tyler agrees with me, and we'll go to game number 3. Angel Torres, Tyler Deacy in the final round of Swiss here. Going to game number 3. Nicely played by Angel to get the most use out of that Whimsicott, especially Whimsicott setting its own fake tears. A lot of the time you'll see the Whimsicott set the fake tears for the Flutter Mane, set up a big hit of damage. But instead, Whimsicott just says, I can set up my own fake tears, launch out a Moonblast, get rid of that Ogerpon into Moonblasts, and see what we can do. And that really decided the late stages of the battle that Whimsicott was able to get all of that done. See if there are any switch-ups between either of these two. Tyler led the same two Pokemon the first two games. Angel totally switched up in game 2, and it worked way better. If Tyler decides to switch things up, if Angel decides not to get too predictable or complacent. Game number 3, round number 4. Both these players at 2-1, 3-1. The good spot for Top Cut. 2-2, not so much. And here we go. Whimsicott, Fluttermane, once again. Same leads as game number 2. Game number 2, as in game number 1, both players terrestrialized immediately. It was the Gouging Fire and the Fluttermane, both Terra Fairy. In game number 1, losing my mind. In game number 2, it was Tailwind and boosted Moonblast into the Gouging Fire from the Fluttermane. This time it's the Gouging Fire switching out. If Tyler is correct with the read here, or if Angel has made a better read. Tinglu comes in here, weakens the special attack of the Fluttermane. We will terrestrialize once again. This has to be the Fluttermane most likely, not going to be the Whimsicott. Indeed it is. Kingambit has not switched out. It'll do pretty big damage, probably a knockout to the Fluttermane. Whimsicott, Fake Tears into the Tinglu, but the Prankster doesn't affect it as a Dark type. The Dazzling Gleam is the choice from the Fluttermane, which does just under half the HP to each of those Pokemon, but that means Iron Head picks up the knockout. Nice first turn there from Tyler. Going to very cleanly make it out of that first turn with a pretty significant advantage now. And the Whimsicott had a totally wasted first turn. Again, Prankster moves targeted at a Pokemon do not affect Dark types. That might be the difference maker in this one. At this point, I don't think Tinglu provides... It certainly provides value, but now Tyler has Terrastal still available too, and can just launch out whatever damage they feel is appropriate. Let me Fake Out into the Tinglu. And the Moonblast into the Kingambit. Not going to get close to finishing off the Kingambit. Dangerous choice there to potentially drop its special attack and raise its attack. Whimsicott gets the Focus Sash. Tinglu flinches. And that's how that turn goes. Pretty okay turn for each side. One more Moonblast will struggle to take down the Kingambit, but I think might be able to get it done. Will be... Probably not, actually. I think it probably won't. It's going to be the protecting Kingambit anyway, so we're not going to find out. Whimsicott uses Tailwind, a nice free Tailwind turn. Very clever there. Rillaboom, high horsepowers into the Kingambit. Not going to do anything. It's protected. And the Tinglu Snarl will finish off the Whimsicott. Obviously doesn't mean much against the Rillaboom, but does a little bit of chip. Never a bad thing. And there goes the Whimsicott. Did get Tailwind up again. That also means that the priority is even better of an option for Tyler, which it just happens to be that Tyler has a Sucker Punch Pokemon already. Last two, Rillaboom and Urshifu for Angel. Urshifu in here. What can it really do against these Pokemon? It can close combat either of them. But at that point, it has to be pretty worried about making itself too weak against what comes in later. Tinglu is going to swap out. And it's Volcarona swapping in. It's got the Flame Body. Sucker Punch into the Rillaboom. Critical hit. Big damage there. Close combat into the Volcarona. Do we see the burn? Believe we do not see the burn, in fact. Indeed, we don't see the burn. Rillaboom gets hit by the Wood Hammer, or uses the Wood Hammer up into King Gambit. Not going to finish King Gambit off, nor will it finish off Rillaboom. And at this point, the Volcarona in a very nice spot to finish this one out. King Gambit just looking to ring out a couple extra whatever. Sucker Punch does land. And that'll be the end of King Gambit. But this Volcarona gets hit by high horsepower. Actually dodges the high horsepower. And the Struggle Bug comes out. It'll finish off the Rillaboom. It'll do surprisingly good damage to the Urshifu. Through to crit, that's why. And probably just one more turn for Tyler to finish this one out. Still has the Ting-Lu and the Gouging Fire in the back. Gouging Fire will be what comes back in. Heat Crash might be able to do this one. Lots of fire for the Urshifu. Tyler will put on the Theatrics first, give us the Terrastal on the Gouging Fire, makes it resistant to everything Urshifu can do now. The Wicked Blow comes out and does basically nothing into that Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire will howl, which does absolutely nothing for Volcarona, just boosts its own attack, which is really cool. Flamethrower, will that do it? Yes, it will. Tyler Deacy with a 2-1 victory in round number 4. Nice job there, finishing off that victory. Tyler will move to 3-1 out of Swiss, and potentially onto Top Cut with his team. We might be able to see it again, see more of that Volcarona, see if we can get it to Quiver Dance. That is an exciting option, always. And meanwhile, Angel Torres at 2-2. We'll see how the bracket, how the results all shake out. See what happens. Tyler won Game 3. Tyler won Game 3. Telling our producers. With that, that will be it for round number 4. As a reminder, we are doing a donation drive for Child's Play. You can look at childsplaycharity.org to find out what they do, delivering therapeutic games and technology to pediatric hospitals. You can donate with that QR code on the screen. I'm not even going to try to point at it. And ! donate in chat. And with that, we will step aside and see you again for Top Cut. Don't go anywhere.